Good job, hand. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Today we're going to talk about the 5v5 basic teams, which is a video I normally will release like on a Tuesday before GAC starts. Releasing it on Thursday this time because real life gets in the way sometimes, and I want to be consistent about that Tuesday release date, but you know, we can all only do the best that we can, right folks? So that being said, this is my video that's geared a little bit more toward the smaller meta. It's not like perfectly geared toward that. It's for the bigger account that I have, like it's my alternate account, so 8.8 million GP at this point. Only 3 Galactic Legends though, and the whole goal for this account is to use the off meta to beat all of the Galactic Legends and tough teams and everything. And so yeah, we're going to definitely be focusing on that at least a little bit here. And I don't know, there's a lot to talk about. This is the video that I kind of talk a little bit more robustly about what is going on with the meta, kind of my strategy. You know, I talk about my offense and defensive teams and everything. I make a new list every time, so even if it seems like it's the same stuff, it's consistently constructed by, you know, my new knowledge. It's not like, oh yeah, I just use the same stuff from like January. It's May, and it's, you know, I'm just using stuff from January. No, I do new stuff every single time. Anyways, let's just jump into it, folks. I really like these videos, actually, whether or not they get like a million clicks. It's fun to be able to explain all of this stuff. It's a longer form video, which is kind of suits my rambling nature, I suppose. So let's get into it, guys. Whoa, we're madness. This is not even where we're starting, guys. Wow, there we go. Here we are. So this is my 8.8 million. Now I know that I mentioned that I was going to maybe make a video for my Prevailman account, which is like 4.4 million, and I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that this season. Maybe I'll wait till next season. It's just as you might imagine, it's tough to play 3 accounts, even if I do have help, which I do on a couple of them. But it's just tricky to find the time, frankly, to be able to do this. And honestly, I haven't given a lot of thought to the Prevailman account because I still want to fall in that account to Bronzium before we really put forth a whole lot of effort into GAC, because I want to sample what it's like in Bronzium and then move up to Chromium and then to Rhodium, etc., and just get that perspective on all of them. And so I can't really let myself get too excited about GAC. Like, I think I just won a match with that Prevailman account just because I could. I was like, yeah, I'll kill the GL and then we'll be able to destroy everything, and it worked really well. And it's just like, it's not really in alignment with my goals right now. We're trying to get into Bronzium, not conquer Chromium. That being said, we'll talk about this a little bit. Prevailman content is coming though, folks. I've made some already. It's a fertile ground, guys. It's a really fun account, actually. It's so silly. So silly. This account is so silly though, because I'm in Kyber 2. I am facing people with 7 Galactic Legends every time, almost. If they only have 6, I'm like, oh, that's rare, that's weird. And I only have 3, so how do I do it? How do I stay in Kyber 2? How do I beat these huge accounts with all the toys, and I just have a bunch of weird bare bones stuff? So Jabba's new to me, though. I think he was pretty important for a lot of different reasons. He's the guy who I've been putting him on defense, and you can see that for an account, this account is really, really concentrated on trying to be as efficient as possible. So anything that can get by at Relic 5, just like buy at Relic 5. If I can just get by with Relic 0, that's what I do. And the Jabba team is the one I'm really trying to pump up with relic levels. Really need one more relic level on Jabba, actually, so that he can get a higher tier on the crate missions and stuff, and then we'll do Scando as well. But this team, I like Embo here. So here's one insight that I had today that may end up shifting things. someone put Boba on this team, and I think that was to counter the fact that, so I saw it on my main account, but I saw someone put Boba here, and I was like, why would you put Boba? Like, Boba's inferior in every way in GAC. But then I realized I have Merrin on that account, on my main account, and my guess is that Boba is what keeps like Night Sisters honest. I bet Boba with his execute just demolishes some Night Sisters trying to kill Jabba, because that is a real thing. A real threat to Jabba is Night Sisters. On this account, for the majority of you people, you don't have to worry about Night Sisters or anything, but something to keep in mind, if they don't have Night Sisters, if they don't have Merrin specifically, they can have all the other Night Sisters, they need Merrin for that to work. If they do actually have if they don't have a good Night Sisters team, then Embo is, in my opinion, the running away best option, because he's also really good against Kenobi, which Kenobi is like the primary counter to Jabba. So it's something to keep in mind, folks. This is the best version of Jabba. And okay, so why did I put Qui-Gon up here first? I think it's because, oh, that's right. So if we want to counter Jabba, it's just a really interesting, like, okay, what are we gonna do with all of our Jedi, with all of our different characters? The Qui-Gon team is, on my main account I showed you guys, alright, I think the Qui-Gon team is a little bit dead. Like, people are starting to counter it with so many different things. It's not that new and fresh. I do think that in Kyber 2 it's still got some breath left in it, and I'll keep doing it. This is, you can see I labeled it my win printer, and I don't have everything labeled, but this is the one that, honestly guys, if I had one like consistent over the course of, you know, the last 10 seasons or even more, squad that got me a lot of wins consistently, it's this Qui-Gon team. Specifically though, in 5s you need Kenobi and Ahsoka, and you need your Qui-Gon, Anakin, and Ki-Adi-Mundi to be faster than their opponent's Bad Batch, including Echo. And yeah, I mean, Echo obviously is the fast one, and so just keep in mind, Ki-Adi-Mundi is plus 80 speed because of his Zeta, because of his, gosh, did I slow him down or something? He could be too faster. Yeah, so he's plus 80 because of his Zeta, because of his stance gives him 20, and then 30 more because of Qui-Gon, so plus 80 total. So 282 becomes 362, and then keep in mind, Anakin is plus 60. He doesn't have the cool stance that he has, so the Ki-Adi-Mundi has. So only a 358, which, I mean, that's fast enough. But if your opponent's Echo is super quick, which you have to deal with sometimes, then, yeah, it's a mess. So 309 on Qui-Gon. We could get them all faster, but Anakin is the tough one to get faster. Just keep in mind, too, that it's actually, these three aren't the fastest, it's Snips. If you read her kit, she actually goes first. This team, honestly, if someone doesn't know how to tackle it, I remember one week I killed 3 General Skywalker teams without losing a single character. After looking at history, this team was able to kill 3 different General Skywalker teams. It's just pretty nice. It's full of hidden strength, guys. And eventually people will just be destroying it with pretty weak teams. Well, not pretty weak, but like pretty specialized teams. And we'll have to take it off the board. But I think we have another month of this, hopefully. We'll keep monitoring it. So if we do that, though, so the impact on the Jedi Master Kenobi team is real, right? So we have General Kenobi and Snips. Both of them would typically go on the best version of Jedi Master Kenobi. Now, the only Galactic Legend I keep on defense right now is Jabba. Remember, I only have 3. I might keep more on defense if I had more Galactic Legends, but as it stands, we have Jedi Master Kenobi here, and he does pretty well. Like, the primary targets are going to probably be just like Jabba and, I don't know, sometimes Malgus, though I've been keeping General Skywalker for Malgus, so maybe we don't need that. Mostly just Jabba. Everyone I'm facing has Jabba. The other one that's going to be more and more prevalent is Reva squads. You can find something to take out those Grand Inquisitor squads, but the Reva squads are... there's something else. They're a different animal. You can't really use, like, for instance, Adrad to take out Reva. But this Kenobi squad against Jabba, you kind of prefer almost having Mace instead of Kenobi. Mace does a lot of stuff. The thing to keep in mind is he takes longer to play because he lets you use Shatterpoint, which means you're targeting all kinds of weird things. And therefore, if you're using like a computer with a mouse, it can take a longer time. You'll time out more. It's less of an issue when you're actually playing on your phone. But then Padme is really good here. And then, I don't know, like R2-D2. Yeah, sure, you can have him. Like someone with Galactic Republic is fine. It's kind of nice. It gives everyone a little bit of a numbers boost and everything, stats wise and everything. And if you're playing against someone with a lot of debuffs, I mean, you already have lots of cleanses, but he's another one. If you crit while you're alongside him and you have his Zeta, then of course he cleanses you. So not a bad team. Not as good if you have to do the Jedi Master Kenobi mirror match, but what I'd rather do is actually use Jedi Master Luke and use a combination of the Jedi Luke team and the Jedi Revan team to take out Jedi Master Kenobi. That's a pretty standard thing. I'll be very interested to see actually once Cal is released, the Jedi Cal, Survivor Cal, whatever you want to call him, whatever you want to Cal him, he is going to make one of these Jedi teams. My guess is Jedi Master Luke significantly stronger, though maybe he'll just want to hang out with Revan. I don't know. We haven't seen his kit yet, but one way or another, you can kind of survive here. You can see I only have Relic 4 on Ayla, which is man, it's just tough to find Relic levels for everyone. On this account, Bronzium wiring runs at a premium. And it's like, does Ayla really deserve Relic 5? Probably not. But at the same time, then you can't use a really strong Datacron. But the Jedi Revan team it can counter if you have them all clocked. You'll have to find the video of me showing you how to do it, which it's a while ago now that I made it. This team can beat Supreme Leader Kylo comps. It's also, I just like this comp as my all-comers comp. Like, if they have a tough dash team, you're like, oh my gosh, that thing is really good. This Jedi Revan team usually beats it. A lot of times you can throw like Mace in here if you don't need him on the Jedi Master Kenobi squad. You could do a lot of cool stuff with this squad, folks. This is the squad that I would use to counter like Darth Malak, for instance, or Malgus, sorry. If the Malgus team is pretty soft, but you do want a Mace on here, I'd throw Mace on here instead of Old Ben, and then you can see the little diamond thing. The one thing that I try to do on these guides, folks, or these discussions are, I try to be consistent about what characters are used, so I don't have a lot of overlap. So when you see one of these little diamonds, that means that I have overlap on these, which means you just need to, if you keep them on offense, then you can be flexible and kind of figure out what you need. And I mean, if you ever watch me play, if you watch me on Twitch, which is found in the link in the video description, guys, it's linked. Super easy to go watch on Twitch, and it's easy also, guys, to support your local streamer if you wanted to support, guys. If you have like a Prime subscription, for instance, you can for free subscribe on Twitch, and it actually that actually gives me some support as well. So it's a good time. Anyways, we have a good time on Twitch. So that being said, if you ever watch me play, I'm always trying to balance like which characters are gonna go on which squad, like what things can we spare, and you can always usually kind of you want to keep a lot of similar things alive or around for offense. In 5v5 especially, you really need to be as careful with that stuff as possible. Now, a lot of people in their front zone, they'll just put like pretty obviously strong teams, and then in the back they won't have as much strong stuff. Like once you get to the higher leagues and stuff, you'll start seeing people who are in Kyber 1, you'll start seeing people who hide things in the back zones a lot, but in the front, or in Kyber 2, I very rarely see like a hidden Galactic Legend for the back zone. That's just not usually how people play it, and so usually you can see the shape of things pretty well by the time, before you even see that back zone. And Anyways, you can kind of mix and match the Jedi Master Luke team with this. I will say the new Zori squad is going to pose a problem. I had to face one of those on this account, and it derailed me to the point that I don't think I'm going to full clear my opponent. In fact, I'm sure I won't. However, if I had just been smart about it, I could have used Jedi Master Luke with this Revan team. I tried to use the Revan team to clear Zori. Didn't work. They just ignored my savior and just trounced me like the lout I probably am. But I guess the thing that I'm trying to spit out here, folks, is that like you can use Jedi Master Luke. It probably loses to Zori as well, unless you combine the two. You remember that Jedi Master Luke is also just way lesser lately of a galactic legend. This team is built to kill one of the better, like, non-galactic legend teams. Like, I'd be happy taking it against, like, General Skywalker, or against, I don't know, not even Zori. You lose to Zori on it with it. Like, you just, like, Malgus, maybe. It's kind of a mess. He needs Cal real bad. Now, so, Old Ben, I really like Old Ben with Jedi Revan. If you can spare Mace, you can put Mace on this team. You don't really need him. You don't need anyone specifically for this slot unless you're trying a specific counter, like against Supreme Leader Kylo. But Old Ben is also probably one of my central characters for this Old Ben, or for this Starkiller team, because I'm usually hunting Rey teams with this, and the Rey team is. It's overrated. No, it's a lot of people don't really think of things in terms of, oh yeah, my Starkiller just kills Rey. Like, I know that maybe a lot of the people who watch these videos do that, but Starkiller is still kind of an enigma to a lot of people. They don't understand how it works. They don't realize that the Rey counter, people are like, oh yeah, it's not consistent. The thing is, if you get that second Omicron on Starkiller, the one where with the AoE, the dispels, that's like almost custom built to be able to beat a lot of race squads. It also really helps against Jedi Master Luke if you ever have to face Jedi Master Luke with this. This team is very strong. I'm actually trying to use, during double drops earlier this month, I was able to farm Cal Kestis all the way from start to finish, and now he's relicked, and he just needs a few more relic levels until I can start using him on this team. I have been using Ben solo because I don't have a Rey to go with him. But if I can use Cal here, then I can use Ben with like a Jedi training Rey team, which is probably still not going to be great because they gain turn meter and he doesn't, because he is not he's not the whatever resistance, and all the rest of them are. So they're getting turn meter and he isn't. But one way or another, I really like this team. I just recently got Relic 7 on Starkiller. He's been 5 forever, killing really high level Galactic Legends for a while, but lately he's just been a little struggly, and I finally broke down and got him to 7 because his damage increases by like 1,000 points every relic level after 5. It is insane. So I also with this current meta, you have the Mara Jade unaligned force user Kron that you can use, and so I got her up to 7, and this squad just annihilated Rey team for full banners this last match. So pretty good. But with Ben in here instead of Cal, I don't know how Cal's going to change things, but I may as well try it because I'm not going to have Seer for a while on this account, and he's not going to have like Rey to hang out with or anything anyways. And honestly, I think he would fit pretty well on this team. I think he does some cool stuff, so we'll have to see. Cal Kestis, you can also use Visas if you really want to. Just make sure. I would just recommend, guys, higher relics on all these guys. Relic 5 if you can, etc. This squad is, I don't know, kind of the backbone of what I'm trying to do on this account for GAC. Trying to do the big game hunting, etc. Now, General Skywalker, he can be okay on offense, he can be okay on defense. You can see everyone is Relic 5 across the board except for 7 on Skywalker. He was 6 for a really long time for whatever reason. But I don't know, I would love to get 5s more relics. I'd love to get all of them a few more relics, to be honest. And you can tell that I don't have many GLs by the fact that none of these guys have relic levels, really. General Skywalker, though, this team, I've been keeping it for offense lately just because there's not a lot of really reliable off-meta ways to kill Malgus. And whereas you drop like 10 banners or something if you try to kill Malgus with this, unless it's for some reason really one-sided, if they have not enough speed mods or something. This squad does really well on offense. Just remember that against almost everything, even if it's just a total wanton slaughter and you just destroy the team, you're going to drop 5 banners minimum, because if they do one AoE, you have no way of recovering any of that protection unless you find a good Datacron that can help you with that. But otherwise, yeah, this General Skywalker team is good on defense because they mess with people. In the current meta though, people have that Chupio-Cron. If they do have it, then this team dies pretty quickly and easily to CLS, and even if not, a lot of CLS teams will take it out anyway. So I've been keeping this for offense lately. You can put it on defense though if you needed to. Okay, so I do have Reva. If you don't have Reva, that's fine. You can use Grand Inquisitor. I would put Grand Inquisitor. So there's not much he counters. The one thing that he does really well to counter, and it was just because of a Datacron. So I still think so Grand Inquisitor and company can usually beat that Qui-Gon team up top. If you have Grand Inquisitor unlocked, great. If not, in 5s, if you just have Inquisition, then I would just recommend, unless you really need like a kind of quote-unquote bad defense team to place, I would just kind of leave them alone. Like sometimes you'll be like, oh hey, look at that, these actually came in handy. You know, again, if you find some weird like Jedi team that you need to finish off, or that, you know, maybe you could try your hand against a Qui-Gon team and just you could kill part of it at least with them. Otherwise, if you have Third Sister, I don't like this team on defense because Traya just smushes it real flat, real easily for max banners. Same with Jedi Master Kenobi, pretty easy to deal with, and so you know, whereas maybe it does take a decent team to beat, at the end of the day, I also have a Traya squad, you guys will see it in a minute, that I think will be pretty decent against this level of team. And so, the other thing about it, though, is it kills most Galactic Legends, folks. It kills almost everything. Like, maybe it would struggle against, like, a Malgus squad, maybe it would struggle against a few other things, but for the most part, this team is very, very strong on offense, and you have good recovery with Seven Sister. You have this team is very strong, and I would just keep it for offense. Frankly, that's what I've been advising people. It's your get out of jail free card. You're like, oh man, I'm out of Galactic Legends, and then you're like, oh wait, but I do have Reva and company. Now we do have Admiral Raddus here. I've been keeping it for offense because I wish I could. With the new gear that we've been getting, guys, honestly, K2 probably isn't that far away from getting a few, like the new raid rewards, I should say, isn't probably that far away from getting some relics or something. He's the superior tank, folks, and I love to use him. On offense, it doesn't make as big of a difference if you don't have a Datacron for the most part, but putting it on defense is a little bit rough. The thing to keep in mind, folks, is if you have Admiral Raddus and everything, don't fall for what we've been calling the Cassian fallacy, where people put an entire Raddus team down. It normally happens in 3s, where they see the shiny Relic 8 Cassian, who was a requirement for Profundity. They see Relic 8 on Cassian and they're like, man, I can't just put him on the bench. And the answer is, of course, in 3s you'd need to, because otherwise you don't have a tank, because it's Raddus and Jin, and then one more. And so you need, like, Cassian, just for the good of that team, needs to just defer to even, like, a Gear 12 K2SO. You just need that. In, you know, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder is another decent option, actually. Baze is also just fine. In 5s, don't do this though, guys. I just recently fought against a team that had all of their characters were non-tanks, and I was able to just take in an inferior team and just destroy Raddus because I had open access to him. Once you can just target him down and focus him down, you just win. It's so easy. So make sure you have one tank, preferably 2, on this Raddus team if you're putting it on defense. On offense, you can mitigate those things a little bit, but you still probably... I think I used this team actually to kill a Relic 7 Grand Inquisitor squad. So this team is it has its worth, guys. It has its values for sure. Now, we do have this Jedi Training Rey team. Now, because I have Cal freeing up Ben Solo, I can actually just use Jedi Training Rey with the Hero Bros and BB-8. And yes, they're only Gear 12 and all that. And I'm sure my Hero Finn, if he's over 300 speed, I will be shocked. Okay, we don't have to be shocked. Holy cow, I'm kind of shocked at how bad that speed is. But, I mean, he's going to be plus, what, 22 more speed just from his right-hand gear pieces eventually. But one way or another, this squad is pretty strong. You could swap out Hero Poe for, like, R2-D2 if you wanted, just to make BB-8 starting a little bit faster, and therefore Jedi Training Rey. This squad is decent on defense. I mean, if someone knows how to use their troopers and you don't have a crazy fast BB-8, which I think mine is pretty slow. Look at that, I've been trying, I need to get him Gear 12, or Gear 13, so I've put this finisher on him just recently, because I had the opportunity. Yeah, if you have a really lightning fast BB-8, you can kind of catch troopers off guard, actually, guys, because remember, BB-8, he can be fast, and he's still, even the fastest you make him is still going to be slower than troopers, but remember, he's getting 8% turn meter for every droid in the team, and so if you put him and R2-D2 on the squad, and he's like 320 speed, then he's going to be plus 16% turn meter, which is going to be faster than the majority of people's troopers, which, if people aren't paying attention, you can catch them off guard and have your droids go first. Jedi Training Rey will, be able to daze someone, and then you're off to the races. It's just kind of a mess for those troopers, and they typically will lose in that situation. So, just something to keep in mind. It's also a pretty good team on offense, to be honest, guys. And honestly, pretty good for banners because Hero Finn has his Grenade of Healing, which is much stronger than you might think. I've been thinking about keeping it for offense. I don't know what I'd replace it with on defense. Now, I have Trench here, and so here's what I'm doing, guys. With all three of these teams, in this current meta, I do have Relic 7 on Trench, which is, I don't know, I kind of feel weird about, honestly. Why is he 3+? Is there some thing I need to upgrade? No, he's just these, and then maybe one more is... Oh, I could just give him Relic 8 just off the... Wow, I had no idea I had all the mats available for that. We won't worry about that right now, though, folks. Trench is... This team, I want to keep it for offense because of Watt, and I need Watt for a lot of different things. So here's, you need Watt for Mandalorians, or Maldalorians, I should say. You need Watt for your Lord Vader's killing team, which I was going to use. I used it this last match, and it worked, except my opponent had placed a team with, they had Maul, and they had Eighth Brother on defense, and Eighth Brother was stealthed, and so I lost all the momentum I had trying to kill Vader. I made one misplay. We don't need to talk about it, but this team does kill most Lord Vaders. If you just use a basic with Watt, then it primes the pumps. I did make my Iden Versio. I just swapped mods with her and Piet, so she's a 323. In reality, she's a 343 with Veers. So, like, Lord Vader goes, and then Maul goes, and then Iden will go, and she will cleanse everyone so that you can gain turn meter again, and then it's off to the races. I actually know my Piet, I just got some other random speed mods and made him fast-ish, just so that he doesn't get totally left behind. But this will kill Lord Vader. If you don't need to kill Lord Vader, though, then you can split it up and put Watt with Trench, and you can put... you can just use this kind of weird lower level Iden team to be able to take out, like a Mon Mothma squad, even like a CLS squad without the Chupio-Cron, even some Chupio-Cron squads you can do if you target Chupio first, I believe. So Maul also really wants, because he doesn't have the cool turn meter loading teams or crons that he has really used a lot lately. So if you wanted to really do something awesome, you could put what's his name, Watt, with this team to jumpstart it. That really works, but of course you want Watt everywhere. So he's one of the most in-demand characters right now, folks, at least for the off meta. Maul is not as good now that Canderous doesn't have his Datacron that just melts people, but Sabine's okay here, guys. If you can, especially if you can throw some relics on it or something. Another option for this Maul team would be, someone pointed out that you could actually just use Canderous, or not Canderous, sorry, if you have a Hondo, if you have Hondo and he has his Omicron on him, then there's at least 2 scoundrels on this team, so Hondo will start with 50% turn meter, in which case he'll be able to potentially go before Maul, before anyone else, and jumpstart the Maul team. So that is an option. I'm going to look into that. I think I have a Gear 12 Hondo at this point, so something to keep in mind. I don't think he's Omicroned yet, though. Okay, so Darth Malgus. Here's the thing, guys. This team, if you don't have another compelling reason for Darth Talon, like Talon really wants to be with Traya. If you don't have a good Traya squad, if you want to use Traya to do something else, Darth Talon's probably the best 5th. The next one, in my opinion, is Sith Marauder. So I think that Darth Malgus with Marauder is probably the best. I don't do that right now. I think I have Marauder with Traya, just because Marauder's Relic 3, Talon is 5, and so having Talon here is pretty nice to be able to put Datacrons on. And of course, everything on this count is predicated on the idea that I can hopefully use a Datacron to good effect. But the Traya squad, remember this one, if you have Savage, which this is I mean, an expensive squad to have, of course, to have Traya and Savage, both Omicrons, to be able to hunt like Reva squads, etc. But this team really does a lot of good, and if it's on offense or if it's on defense. So I like Malgus on defense because it messes with people. You need a Galactic Legend, or you need to spend a lot of banners with General Skywalker to take out Malgus. So I like putting it on defense. And General Skywalker will lose sometimes to Malgus, which is a nice bonus. And then Traya, if you put this on defense, if your opponent doesn't have Reva, it takes a lot of pressure off of your roster. Because you don't have to use a high-end team to take out one of their teams. Your Darth Traya is going to be really strong. This particular comp on defense also, it doesn't have a counter that isn't a Galactic Legend. It's just really strong. You're not going to find really a better team than this for defense. But for offense, it'll kill Reva. It'll kill Reva. So, this Grievous squad, gosh, okay, so the Trench is causing all kinds of issues, folks, and that's because he is requiring all these characters that I normally want on other teams. Like Jango is really good with his Mandalorian buddies. Watt is good with all these other comps that I was showing you. Dooku, I could care less. I actually put relics on him just to get this Trench team up, and I do have a good Datacron for them. But then Newt is another one that we really miss, and he's the reason I'm really trying to get relics onto General Grievous here, or onto BB-8, because I want something to make this squad fast. Right now, this is just really expensive Bad Batch bait. Honestly, unless you have a really good Datacron that can get target lock on characters without them being able to resist, so like against Wampa, for instance, this team just really isn't going to get very far. Droideka, this is an uninspired squad, to be honest, guys. If you have BB-8 here, it makes this whole squad 40% turn meter. You start with 40% turn meter, which, this whole team is predicated on having lots of turns as often as possible, lots of turn meter gain, and so BB-8's great here. Or Newt is wonderful here as well. I don't think Droideka is really going to get me far, to be honest. I think Bad Batch just ruined this, to be honest. So on offense, this can still work decently, especially if you have Droideka. I have him Omicron, so it's like, man, I want to get some use out of him, even if this is GAC and we can't use the Omicron itself. It's like, well, I can make Droideka a little better, get some use from him. Let's see, Commander Luke team with Chupio. I like this. I've been putting this on defense. The thing is, it loses to pretty much all of the Galactic Legends, and otherwise, Tuskens also beat it, which a lot of people are going to be working on Tuskens now for the raid. I like this team for offense the most. It even counters a couple different Galactic Legend builds out there. It is a good team. It's like you have to put something on defense. So I've been putting it on defense. I think it would be better for offense, though. If you could find a team to replace it, that would be better. Now, all the bounty hunters, I just have like one potential comp for the bounty hunters. You have Bando here to go, you know, just keep everyone alive. This team can use, in the off meta, can beat most of the Lord Vader comps out there. It does pretty well. Remember, Lord Vader right now has that Kron that gives him bonus protection for putting dots on people, and so you have to be careful. This squad can beat that if you're paying a lot of attention. Just remember that the only way you can really beat it is if Greef dispels all of the buffs on Lord Vader, and Fennec is able to punch and kick a lot. And if that Lord Vader team has a whole lot of health steal, then it's probably not going to work. Or you're going to need to take someone besides either Bando or Mandalorian, which, you know, if you take like Boba, he can one-shot Lord Vader sometimes, depending on the situation. So, you know, if he gets enough stacks of that bonus protection, he can do it. It's a tricky thing. This team, also, just if you use Aura Lead instead of Fennec and you have everyone clocked the right way, you can also just take out a lot of teams, like dash teams. If you have Zam on the squad, giving everyone a bunch of extra speed and stuff. It's still got a lot of legs. This team is really good. It's just, it can be tricky to figure out where exactly you want to use it, that's all. It's a little bit diminished lately, to be honest. The fact that Zam isn't anywhere to be found despite her Omicron, a little bit sad to me. Let's see, Dash, this is my favorite version of Dash, to be honest. Maybe you take out young Lando for Bam, if I have to pick a total preference. And of course, you know, you could always use like Han and Chewie as well on this squad if you really wanted to pick like the very most effective. But I think this squad has some good legs. It does a lot of good stuff. Again, we have everyone Relic 5 here. Vander, Chewie, and Dash just belong. They're just joined at the hip. My favorite tandem in the entire game, I think, at this point, with the Omicron, and then of course you need the Zeta on Vandor. Remember, if you put another character, if you put like Hondo on the team, for instance, Hondo is not light side and therefore will not be revived by Vandor. Not that he necessarily needs to, he's got a lot of his own protection stuff as it is, but Hondo doesn't necessarily work here. The very best. I mean, probably eventually I will just take young Lando out and put Hondo on once I get Hondo some relics from somewhere, somehow, some way. But otherwise, yeah, we have Kuiil and IG cleanses every time he takes a turn. It's just nice. This team will kill. It'll kill Jedi Master Luke pretty consistently. Depending on what relics Jedi Master Luke is on, it'll kill. It kills a lot of stuff, guys. This is my other take-all-comers, like this one and Jedi Revan. Those are my two kind of floating teams that go around and just kill a wide variety of stuff. Probably a little less effective in general than that Jedi Revan team, but I mean, Jedi Revan team isn't killing a Galactic Legend unless it's Supreme Leader Kylo. And this squad, well, isn't killing a Galactic Legend unless it's Jedi Master Luke, or in some cases Jedi Master Kenobi, depending on the situation. So mostly in threes is when that works, though. However, Wampa, I mean, he just womps things. This match, I think my opponent had a Starkiller team that I had no way of killing because things had kind of gone off the rails, but I was able to turn meter load them a little bit so that even though they were way faster than Wampa, I was able to finagle it so that he was able to kill. He killed all but Starkiller and Old Ben, and then I was able to clean it up pretty easily. So remember, Wampa, and if you make him fast enough, he'll just beat a lot of Starkiller teams on his own. Like, fast enough with enough relics. You really just, you do want the Omicron on him, frankly. Otherwise, he doesn't belong on your list at all. Now we're starting to get into some of the more sketchy teams. So we have Mother Talzin here. I do think that Merrin, even at lower gear, is probably going to be better for most people than using Merrin with, or than using Spirit with the team. Honestly, like, she dies a lot, but that's actually good. And she revives very readily. She does a lot of really cool stuff that helps the team. As she heals protection. She does all kinds of cool stuff. Even in Gear 9, I really like her with this squad, the way it's configured. And honestly, I'm considering just getting her Gear 12 and then just leaving the squad as is, even though CG's like, hey, we don't want you to actually be able to, you know, have paper zombie and stuff. I think it's probably worthwhile though, folks. Probably worthwhile to keep them that low because they've been killing a lot of stuff for me. I don't know. Maybe one day they'll get a Datacron that is so amazing that I just have to change my mind. Or maybe one day I'll put the Omicron on Marin and we'll go hunting for Jabba teams. Not sure. Anyways, we've got Mothra. I've been putting her on defense. It's kind of a sad thing, though, because she does clean up a lot of teams. She does a lot of good there. I like Biston here. I mean, I like him because he steals turn meter from people, and he gets a lot of turns with his frenzy. He does a lot of good, and he's a required relic 5 if you want profundity, so you already have him, and so he's pretty good. And then I've been putting this team on defense. They just get smushed. It's not a good defensive team, guys. On offense, it does do a lot, just because if you can pinpoint a team that, like, Kyle Katarn can go in, he can start the turn meter train a little bit, and you can get rolling. Like, this team does a lot of good. It can also finish off, like, Lord Vader, for instance, if you play it right and you know what you're doing. And so the squad gains, like, infinite turn meter, and you're able to finish off, you know, you can kill. I've killed Rey teams that have, you know, I'm like, oh crap, I only killed like 1 or 2 characters on that Rey team. And then Mon Mothma will go in and finish them off. So really good stuff. I just don't know when I can finish Pow and Hoth Rebel Scout, which, I mean, they kind of need relics if they want to keep up with everyone. So yet another thing on my list. This crew team, a lot of people have more gear on this stuff. The Red Trooper, of course, is going to be in demand now that we have the new TIE Dagger announced, and so he'll probably be relicked next time you guys see me, or at least working on Gear 12 for him. But yeah, this is, in my opinion, the best version of a Kylo, or of a First Order team that doesn't have Supreme Leader Kylo. If you do have Supreme Leader Kylo, then you can take off OG Kylo instead, and then slide Kylo Ren unmasked over and put Supreme Leader Kylo here. This is probably the best version of any First Order squad. Well, unless you get into Territory Wars, then you need Phasma, etc. But this squad does pretty well. Double tank, it's nice. You have OG Kylo loading all the turn meter, providing all of that. Sith Trooper, Red Trooper, whatever. He's assisting all the time. It's a good squad. Stops people from gaining turn meter. It's like Tuskens. It's like the old school version of Tuskens. Brood, Alpha, so if Geo's, I know that there's a Pogglekron kicking around, and it's actually pretty good. Like, well, there's both a good, his Omicron is good in Territory Wars, but then in GAC, his Datacron is also pretty good. Obviously, my Geo's nowhere near the point that I want to try to take advantage of the Pogglekron, really. And if you don't want to do that, then the squad can just lay where it's at. I just put it on defense and let someone kill it with, I don't know, like Vader and String. It's pretty easy to take out. Now, a lot of people have these farmed at a more, I don't know, advanced rate than me, whatever. So if you have, I'm not going to be using this team at all personally, but if you have some Zetas to throw on these characters, awesome. And, you know, under Sortie, though, if you don't have Aphra yet, then the murder bots are going to go really well, especially if T3 is hanging out, sharing his armor pen and all that stuff with his Zeta. You know, like having a tank on the squad is good. This is a pretty good squad pre-Aphra, so I'm not going to be using it, but you can if you really want to. I do use this Bad Batch team. Man, I was so close to killing a Qui-Gon team with it. I got just crazy unlucky. I was looking, like, Anakin resisted both of my attempts to stun him, despite the fact that I had more than enough potency to do it. He just got a 15% resist, followed by another 15% resist against Wrecker, to be able to kill my whole team. It was pretty demoralizing and sad, but the thing that you want to keep in mind with your Bad Batch guys is if you can dispel buffs, this is why it's a great team against Qui-Gon if you're fast enough. If you can dispel buffs with Echo, so he's 353, which is pretty quick, not quick enough to take down my Qui-Gon team, you'll note, but if you do have him fast enough, then he can dispel. Like another team that would be really good against would be like First Order, who have a lot of preloaded advantage or buffs, you know, taunts and stuff. You can get rid of all of those buffs And for every buff that you dispel with Echo, then your whole team gains 5% turn meter. So you just need to make your tech fast enough to take advantage of it. How fast? Yeah, so 258. If you have the Zeta on him, he's 268 in 5s. And then he's gaining 5% turn meter for every buff that's dispelled, so like 25% turn meter usually means that tech goes immediately after Echo, and then everyone else is joined because tech stuns everyone. Then maybe the opponent team gets to take their turns, but they were stunned, so they didn't get to do anything, and then Wrecker comes in and 2 turns stuns them all. Let's see, is this guy modded for potency? I feel like, yeah, we have some potency on him at least. Yeah, not too much. Not yet. Plus 25 is not much, but remember, he's only gear 8, so eventually we'll get there. Eventually we'll get there. This team kills a lot more stuff than you might think, despite the low gear levels, like gear 9 on Hunter and Omega, gear 8 on Wrecker. Like, this team still kills full relict teams pretty consistently, assuming you don't get really bad RNG. You just want a fast Echo, so really good team for offense. And then so all of these leftovers, you can see, you know, we have Hondo here. Need to throw his Omicron on at some point. And then Gideon, of course, he's just good for... He's pretty quick now. I've been trying to make him faster and faster. Let's see. 349, he'll be another, what, plus 8? He gets 6 for this, and then 2 for the speed mod bonus once I get to gear 13. But... yeah, he can be a little faster as well, I guess. Plus another 8 is 357. That's all right. That's decent. But all these characters, like, I like that these are all control. Well, at least some of them are control. Like Thrawn obviously has his fracture. Hondo has his like own version of fracture. Moff Gideon has the turn meter reduction, and then Vader is just really nice to be able to plug and play and use against any number of characters. So yeah, these guys can kind of be mixed and matched wherever you need them. Just having some good flexible characters is nice to have. I don't know why I selected TIE Fighter Pilot. I'm sure that I have a better character than him left over. Here, let's see if we do. What could we pick instead? Like Boba is a way better candidate, for instance. Nest is another great one. And then it kind of goes downhill pretty drastically. But here, let's do Boba here instead of TIE Fighter Pilot. TIE Fighter Pilot does go decently well alongside Darth Vader, of course. But anyways, folks, that's it. That's all the teams I have. What teams are you looking forward to using this season? I'm looking forward to another Kyber 2 season of mayhem. Let's hope that we last the night. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.